Intelligence is not a single measure. It is a vast spectrum that reaches far beyond what the world often tells us. Many believe that intelligence is merely the ability to memorize facts, solve problems, or score high on tests. But true intelligence is the ability to understand life, to see the patterns of cause and effect, and to align oneself with the invisible laws that govern success, happiness, and fulfillment. The first level of intelligence is instinctual. This is the intelligence that animals possess, the intelligence that responds to immediate needs, hunger, danger, and survival. It is automatic, reactive, and often driven by fear or desire. At this level, a person reacts to life rather than consciously creating their circumstances. Decisions are made based on habit, impulse, or emotional triggers, and though life may move along, it is often at the mercy of circumstance. One may live a lifetime at this level, and yet feel that life happens to them rather than through them. People at this level may struggle with self-discipline, find it difficult to plan for the future, and often repeat patterns that keep them bound to mediocrity. The second level of intelligence is analytical. Here, the mind begins to discern, categorize, and reason. It can solve complex problems, analyze situations, and plan for outcomes with logic and foresight. While this intelligence is more sophisticated than instinct, it is still confined to the material plane. It can manipulate circumstances, but it cannot yet perceive the invisible forces that influence results. A person at this level may excel in academics, business, or technical skills, yet they may still feel the limits of frustration when life's unexpected turns defy calculation. This level is necessary for survival in the modern world, but it often stops short of true mastery, for it depends on human effort and reasoning rather than alignment with the higher currents of wisdom that flow through all things. The third level of intelligence is intuitive. Here, the mind begins to recognize patterns that cannot always be explained by logic. Intuition is a quiet, guiding voice, often subtle and easily ignored, but it speaks truths that reason alone cannot perceive. At this level, a person learns to trust their inner guidance, to act not merely on what seems possible, but on what feels right in the deepest sense. This intelligence opens the door to creativity, insight, and foresight beyond the obvious. A person attuned to intuition can anticipate outcomes, sense opportunities, and make decisions that align with the unseen flow of life. Intuition is the bridge between the material mind and the higher wisdom that governs life's unfolding, and yet it requires cultivation, for it can be clouded by fear, doubt, or distraction. The fourth level of intelligence is emotional. While the previous levels focus on survival, logic, and insight, emotional intelligence recognizes the power of feelings and relationships. It understands that emotions are not merely reactions but powerful forces that shape perception, influence choices, and attract circumstances. At this level, one becomes aware of the subtle energies of others, the vibrations of a room, and the unspoken currents of interaction. A person with high emotional intelligence can navigate challenges with grace, inspire trust, and create harmonious outcomes where conflict once prevailed. This intelligence teaches that mastery of life is not only a matter of what one knows, but how one feels, projects, and responds to the energy around them. The fifth level of intelligence is creative. This is the intelligence that shapes reality through imagination, vision, and manifestation. Here, the mind learns that ideas are seeds, and that what is conceived in thought and imagination can become tangible reality. The creative mind does not merely react to life, it participates in the creation of life itself. A person at this level understands the law of attraction, the power of intention, and the necessity of maintaining a mental environment of abundance, faith, and expectation. Creative intelligence transcends mere problem-solving. It invents, inspires, and initiates. It is the intelligence of artists, inventors, leaders, and visionaries, and it thrives when coupled with the higher wisdom of intuition and emotional awareness. The sixth level of intelligence is spiritual. This intelligence recognizes that there is a higher order at work in life, a divine principle that orchestrates all things for the good of those who are attuned to it. At this level, a person understands that their thoughts, words, and actions are not isolated. They ripple through the fabric of life, creating consequences and attracting conditions that reflect inner states. Spiritual intelligence integrates all previous levels, combining instinct, reason, intuition, emotion, and creativity into a harmonious alignment with universal laws. Decisions are made not out of fear or desire, but from a place of wisdom, knowing, and alignment with a greater purpose. At this level, life becomes an art, and challenges transform into opportunities for growth, learning, and higher expression. The seventh level of intelligence is divine. This is the intelligence that sees beyond form, beyond time and space, and recognizes the unity of all life. It is the intelligence of visionaries, sages, and enlightened beings who move through life with effortless grace, manifesting abundance, joy, and harmony in ways that seem miraculous to the uninitiated. At this level, there is no separation between thought and reality, no conflict between desire and attainment. The individual knows themselves as a co-creator with the infinite, capable of shaping their world by aligning with the perfect law that governs all existence. Here, intelligence is no longer a tool for survival, achievement, or even personal fulfillment. It is the expression of divine will and consciousness in action. This level may appear distant or unattainable, but it is within reach of anyone willing to rise above limitation, release fear, and trust the invisible guidance that flows through all things. Every person operates within these 7 levels, though rarely do they remain fixed at one. Life is a journey of ascending through these levels, learning the lessons of instinct, reason, intuition, emotion, creativity, spiritual insight, and ultimately divine alignment. Understanding where you currently stand is the first step, for without awareness, growth is impossible. Many people believe they are intelligent because they succeed in the eyes of society, yet they may be trapped in the lower levels, responding to life reactively, relying solely on analysis, or ignoring the inner voice that guides toward true wisdom. By recognizing the spectrum, one begins to see that true intelligence is not measured by degrees, titles, or achievements, but by the harmony, insight, and alignment with the laws of life that each level allows. Instinctual intelligence serves as the foundation. It is necessary but limited. Analytical intelligence builds upon it, providing structure and reasoning. Intuition introduces the unseen, emotional intelligence adds depth, creative intelligence empowers manifestation, spiritual intelligence brings wisdom, and divine intelligence reveals unity and effortless mastery. Each level is both a gift and a responsibility, and the journey from one to the next requires conscious effort, awareness, and alignment with higher principles. The key is not to reject any level, but to master it, to integrate it, and to allow the mind and heart to expand beyond limitation. Those who ascend the levels of intelligence do not merely accumulate knowledge, they cultivate wisdom, understanding, and the ability to navigate life with clarity, grace, and power. Identifying your current level of intelligence is one of the most important steps in understanding yourself and unlocking your true potential. Many people drift through life unaware of where they stand, believing that intelligence is simply measured by what they know, what they achieve, or how others perceive them. Yet true intelligence is far deeper. It is the alignment of your mind, heart, and spirit with the laws that govern success, happiness, and fulfillment. To recognize your current level, you must begin with honest observation. Take note of how you react to challenges, how you make decisions, and how you interact with the world around you. Do you respond out of fear, habit, or impulse, or do you pause, reflect, and chew? See your actions consciously. Instinctual intelligence operates on immediate survival. It is reactive, often driven by need or desire, and it rarely considers long-term consequences. Analytical intelligence, by contrast, observes, reasons, and plans, yet it can still be confined to the visible and measurable, missing the unseen influences that shape outcomes. Recognizing which of these levels governs your day-to-day life is crucial, for it reveals the blocks and limitations that have kept you from ascending further. The blocks that hold people back are often invisible yet powerful. Fear is one of the most pervasive barriers to growth. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of the unknown keep many anchored at lower levels of intelligence. When fear dominates, decisions are made reactively, opportunities are ignored, and the mind becomes cluttered with doubt. Doubt itself is another barrier, quietly undermining intuition and creative impulses. convincing the mind that what is possible is unattainable. Habit and conditioning also play a role. Patterns learned in childhood or reinforced through experience can confine a person to a particular way of thinking and acting. Emotional intelligence may remain underdeveloped, leaving one unaware of the subtle energies that influence relationships and circumstances. Even those with great analytical or creative skills may find themselves blocked because they have not yet learned to perceive the invisible currents of life and work with them consciously. Self-awareness is the tool by which these blocks are identified and dissolved. By observing your thoughts, feelings, and responses, you begin to notice where limitations arise. Do you react impulsively in stressful situations, or do you pause and assess? Do you trust your intuition, or do you dismiss it in favor of logic alone? Are your emotions guiding you toward harmony and abundance, or are they stirring confusion and conflict? The answers to these questions reveal not only your current level of intelligence, but also the areas where conscious effort and alignment are most needed. Journaling, meditation, and reflection are practices that bring this awareness to the surface, allowing the mind to see patterns that were once hidden and giving the heart a chance to release old fears and attachments. Once your current level is identified, the next step is to understand the potential that lies beyond it. Every level of intelligence contains the seeds of the next, yet these seeds must be cultivated. Instinctual intelligence, when observed and disciplined, becomes the foundation upon which analytical reasoning is built. Analytical intelligence, when guided by intuition and emotional awareness, becomes creative intelligence, capable of shaping reality with intention. Emotional intelligence, when aligned with spiritual insight, allows a person to move with grace and harmony through life, understanding the laws that govern human interaction and manifestation. Creative intelligence, when combined with spiritual and divine awareness, becomes the tool for extraordinary manifestation, allowing life to unfold with ease, abundance, and fulfillment. Understanding your current level is not meant to create judgment or frustration. It is a mirror, reflecting where you stand and illuminating the path to higher expression. The process of transcending your current level requires both awareness and action. It is not enough to recognize limitations. One must consciously choose to release them. Fear must be met with faith, doubt with confidence, and old habits with new patterns that reflect higher wisdom. Emotional awareness must be nurtured so that feelings become allies rather than obstacles. Intuition must be trusted and exercised until it becomes a reliable guide, and creativity must be disciplined and directed with purpose. Spiritual alignment requires the recognition that there is a higher order at work in all life, and that cooperation with this order brings results that far exceed effort alone. Every step toward higher intelligence involves the release of attachment to outcome, the cultivation of inner harmony, and the deliberate choice to perceive life from a perspective that transcends limitation. Many remain stuck because they underestimate the subtle power of their own thoughts and beliefs. Beliefs are the lenses through which intelligence operates. They shape perception, decision-making, and even the very circumstances one attracts. A belief, rooted in lack, fear, or inadequacy, will confine intelligence to lower levels no matter how talented or educated a person may be. Conversely, beliefs rooted in abundance, faith, and alignment with universal laws open the mind to higher levels of insight, creativity, and manifestation. Identifying your current level involves recognizing the beliefs that govern your life, both conscious and unconscious, and understanding how they shape your intelligence. Are your beliefs expanding your potential, or are they keeping you limited in thought, action, and opportunity? Awareness of this distinction is transformative, for once a limiting belief is recognized, it can be released and replaced with a belief that aligns with higher intelligence. The journey upward also requires discernment between effort and alignment. Many mistake hard work, struggle, and persistent striving as signs of intelligence or success, yet intelligence at its highest level does not merely work harder. It works smarter, aligned with the invisible laws of life. Those who rise in intelligence understand that life responds not to force but to resonance, that manifestation occurs when thought, emotion, and action are harmonized, and that obstacles often signal misalignment rather than inadequacy. Recognizing your current level allows you to see where effort alone is insufficient, and where alignment must replace struggle. It also teaches patience, for growth does not happen overnight. Each level requires mastery of T. The previous one, a deepening of understanding, and the willingness to release what no longer serves your higher purpose. Another key to identifying your level is to observe the outcomes in your life. Your results are reflections of your intelligence, not your intentions alone. If life feels chaotic, inconsistent, or unfulfilling, it may indicate that your intelligence is operating at a level that is reactive rather than aligned. If relationships are challenging, opportunities scarce, or success elusive, it may reflect blocks in emotional, intuitive, or creative intelligence. Conversely, when life flows with ease, opportunities present themselves and challenges are met with grace, it is a sign that higher levels of intelligence are emerging. By examining outcomes without judgment and with curiosity, you gain insights into where growth is needed and where alignment is already occurring. The path from awareness to transformation is paved with conscious practice. Identifying your level is the first step, but cultivating the qualities of the next level is where true evolution occurs. Instinct must be refined into reason. Reason must be informed by intuition. Emotion must be balanced and harnessed. Creativity must be disciplined and directed. Spiritual awareness must guide action. And alignment with divine intelligence must become natural and effortless. Each level builds upon the last, integrating lessons, releasing blocks, and expanding perception. The process is both internal and external, affecting thought, feeling, action, and environment. The more consciously one observes, releases, and aligns, the more rapidly one ascends through the levels, moving from reactive survival to mastery, from limitation to freedom, from uncertainty to clarity. Identifying and transcending your current level also opens the door to empowerment. Many people wait for circumstances to change or for opportunity to arrive, but the true power lies in understanding and elevating your own intelligence. When you recognize where you stand, you also recognize the power to shift, the ability to cultivate new habits, beliefs, and patterns, and the potential to create life in accordance with your highest vision. Awareness becomes the lens through which life is navigated with wisdom, and conscious choice becomes the tool through which transformation occurs. The higher the level of intelligence you cultivate, the more effortlessly life aligns with your purpose, and the more fully you experience abundance, clarity, and joy. Rising to higher levels of intelligence is not simply a matter of learning more, acquiring more skills, or achieving greater material success. It is the conscious alignment of mind, heart, and spirit with the invisible laws that govern all life. To ascend, one must cultivate practices that open perception, refine awareness, and harmonize thought and feeling with the higher currents of wisdom and divine intelligence. The first step in this process is recognizing that intelligence is multidimensional. It is not merely what the mind can calculate, nor is it solely what the emotions can navigate. It is a seamless integration of all faculties: instinct, reason, intuition, emotion, creativity, spiritual insight, and divine alignment. Each facet of intelligence is both a tool and a channel through which higher consciousness expresses itself, and mastery of these facets allows life to flow with clarity, power, and effortless manifestation. To rise to higher intelligence, one must begin with the mind. The mind is the instrument through which life is interpreted, and the quality of thought determines the quality of experience. Limiting thoughts, doubts, and fears confine intelligence to lower levels, creating patterns of struggle, confusion, and unfulfilled potential. Conversely, thoughts rooted in faith, clarity, and purpose elevate perception, allowing insight and understanding to expand beyond the visible world. Cultivating mental discipline is essential. This involves observing the habitual thoughts that run through the mind, releasing those that diminish capacity, and intentionally cultivating thoughts that inspire, uplift, and align with higher principles. Affirmation, visualization, and focused contemplation are powerful tools to condition the mind to operate at higher levels, training it to perceive opportunity, recognize patterns, and respond with wisdom rather than reaction. The heart is equally crucial in rising to higher intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not merely awareness of feelings, it is the conscious mastery of emotional energy and its alignment with constructive outcomes. Emotions carry vibration, and the energy you project attracts experiences that correspond to it. A person who allows fear, resentment, or frustration to dominate will find their intelligence constrained, no matter how sharp the mind may be. By cultivating compassion, gratitude, joy, and patience, the heart becomes a powerful instrument for higher perception and harmonious creation. Emotional alignment also enhances intuition, for the heart often perceives what the mind cannot see, recognizing subtle currents of life, opportunity, and guidance. Practices such as mindful reflection, emotional release, and intentional gratitude strengthen the heart's capacity, allowing intelligence to operate from a center of calm, clarity, and constructive energy. Intuition is the bridge between the tangible and the invisible, and its cultivation is essential for higher intelligence. At lower levels, people rely solely on what they can see, measure, or calculate. As intuition develops, the individual begins to perceive patterns, possibilities, and guidance that transcend logical reasoning. Intuition can manifest as a quiet knowing, a sudden insight, or a subtle nudge directing toward action. To cultivate this faculty, one must learn to quiet the mind, release fear, and trust the inner voice that arises beyond ego and habit. Meditation, contemplation, and mindful observation of the natural world are practices that strengthen intuition, allowing it to guide thought, emotion, and action with increasing clarity. When intuition is harmonized with reason and emotion, it becomes a powerful tool for navigating life, recognizing opportunities, and making decisions that align with higher wisdom. Creativity is another key component in rising to higher intelligence. Creative intelligence is the ability to shape circumstances, manifest ideas, and bring unseen possibilities into form. It is not limited to the arts, it is the intelligence that generates solutions, innovates, and inspires transformation in life. Creative expression requires courage, faith, and alignment with the higher self, for creation flows most powerfully when it is free from doubt, fear, and attachment to limitation. Those who cultivate creative intelligence understand that ideas are seeds, that imagination is a channel of manifestation, and that disciplined action transforms vision into reality. By exercising creativity, a person learns that intelligence is not only reactive but generative, capable of shaping life according to higher principles rather than merely responding to circumstance. Spiritual alignment is the deeper layer of intelligence that integrates mind, heart, intuition, and creativity with the law of life itself. At this level, one recognizes that all things are connected, that life operates according to divine principles, and that alignment with these principles produces effortless success, harmony, and fulfillment. Spiritual intelligence requires awareness of the unseen, faith in the process of life, and trust in the unseen guidance that orchestrates outcomes for those who align with it. Practices such as contemplation of higher truths, reflection on universal laws, and conscious surrender to the flow of life cultivate this alignment. When spiritual intelligence is integrated, the mind becomes clear, the heart becomes expansive, and intuition and creativity operate in harmony with the invisible currents that govern prosperity, well-being, and personal evolution. Rising to higher intelligence also involves the conscious release of limitation. Many are held back by habits, fears, or beliefs that anchor them at lower levels. To transcend these limitations, one must identify them clearly, confront them honestly, and replace them with higher patterns of thought, feeling, and action. Limitation often appears as resistance, struggle, or repeated challenges, signaling the need for alignment rather than more effort. Releasing limitation requires faith, focus, and consistent practice. It involves letting go of attachment to outcome, surrendering the ego's need to control, and embracing the truth that life responds to resonance rather than force. Each release expands capacity, allowing higher intelligence to express naturally and powerfully, bringing clarity, insight, and manifestation that were previously inaccessible. Action is the final component in rising to higher intelligence. Awareness, alignment, and cultivation alone are insufficient without the application of insight in practical life. Action at higher intelligence is guided by wisdom, not impulsiveness, by alignment, not struggle, by clarity, not confusion. It integrates mind, heart, intuition, creativity, and spiritual awareness into deliberate and inspired steps that shape circumstances in accordance with higher principles. Such action is not forced or frantic, but flows from insight and alignment, producing results that appear effortless to the untrained observer. Through consistent application, higher intelligence becomes embodied, demonstrating mastery in every area of life, from relationships to business, from personal growth to contribution and service. Mentorship, environment, and association also play vital roles in ascending intelligence. Surrounding oneself with others who operate at higher levels, who embody wisdom, integrity, and insight, naturally elevates perception and understanding. Exposure to new ideas, experiences, and perspectives stretches the mind beyond previous limits, opening pathways to higher levels of intelligence. The environment, both physical and energetic, must support growth, for clutter, negativity, or misalignment can drain energy, obscure insight, and impede progress. Conscious choice in association and surroundings enhances the ability to rise, reinforcing habits, beliefs, and perceptions that are aligned with higher intelligence. Patience, persistence, and faith are indispensable qualities on this journey. Ascending levels of intelligence does not happen instantly. It is a gradual unfolding of awareness, practice, and alignment. Every insight, every release, every deliberate act of alignment strengthens capacity and accelerates progress. Faith sustains the individual through uncertainty, doubt, or temporary setbacks, for it recognizes that growth is the law of life and that intelligence expands naturally when conditions of alignment are cultivated. Persistence ensures that habits, practices, and awareness become second nature, embedding higher intelligence into every thought, feeling, and action. Patience allows the individual to honor the timing of life, understanding that each level of intelligence requires mastery before the next can fully emerge. Ultimately, rising to higher intelligence is the art of living consciously. It is the recognition that life is not a series of random events, but a reflection of inner alignment, clarity, and resonance. By cultivating mind, heart, intuition, creativity, spiritual insight, and divine awareness, one elevates every aspect of experience, manifesting a life of harmony, abundance, and fulfillment. Higher intelligence is not an abstract ideal. It is practical, powerful, and accessible to anyone willing to observe, release limitation, align with higher principles, and act from wisdom. Each step upward opens new perspectives, opportunities, and capacities, allowing the individual to participate consciously in the creation of life. Moving from reaction to mastery, from limitation to freedom, from uncertainty to clarity.